sweet little honeys, welcome back. I would like to apologize that I did not have a video last week. I didn't even say anything on my channel by being like, I'm not having a video last week. I did not expect to not do a video. Quite frankly, there were so many things happening with my 2 social media jobs and like so many new things that I was like trying to learn, but then do them at the same time. And then TIFF was coming up, and at my serving job, TIFF is a big thing. So there was just so much happening. Quite frankly, I didn't even realize that I didn't have a video until the day before it was coming out. And I was like, oh my God, I never gave anything to my editor to edit. So I know I'm currently vlogging on my phone, but I have a little surprise for you, honeys. Look, she's back. The OG, she's here. Honeys, I'm so excited. My camera's here. It's been fixed. This guy who did it for me, by the way, his camera shop is in Scarborough. He was so amazing. He was so easy. He charged me such a good price, and he was like, I can't believe you were gonna pay the original other price or even buy a new camera. He's like, just next time come to me and I'll fix it up. I'm like, so let's switch it up. I'm like staring myself in the side camera, and just like the way I move and like the color, I honestly could cry right now. I can't explain to you how happy I am to be on a camera. And now I can like get back to my normal vlogs. Oh my God. Okay, life is made. Anyways, enough with the phone, whatever. We're back on camera. We're back in business. We're gonna get into a fun video today. This is a topic that I have, actually one of my recent comments came in about unions and Toronto Union, which is ACTRA. And I have people DM me being like, hey, I wanna be union. Like, when do you think it's a good time? I've had other comments on my TikTok and even other comments on my YouTube come in about unions. I think this is a huge topic. And it's one of those where you're always going to have the decision to make. It's always gonna come up. It's not one of those things where it happens once, it'll never happen again. And I think there's a lot around it where it is a scary transition to make. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm in the union, and when I was deciding whether I wanna go in or not, I'm like, this could either help my career or this could actually not help my career. Quite frankly, you're never gonna know until you take that decision and make the risk. And if it was a bad decision, well, at least you learned that it was a bad decision. And if it wasn't a bad decision, then that's great, it wasn't one. But the one thing you have to learn about this industry is that it's all about risk. And you cannot sit here and say, should I do this or should I not do it? Should I go with this agent or should I not go with this agent? You should always just try. And if it didn't work, well, then at least you'll learn this type of relationship with an agent is not what I'm looking for. Done. That ship has sailed. Now we're gonna look for something new. The one thing I do have to say is that when it comes to this, you should not listen to anyone else besides yourself and industry professionals. And when I mean industry professionals, I mean people like your acting coach, aka your mentor, your agent, maybe your manager if you have one, and truly yourself. That's it. These are really kind of the people that should be in your circle telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to the union. Your agent should really be guiding you if you have one and you have the opportunity to go, because I've had instances where an agent can tell you, I don't think you're ready to go union. Because when you're in the union pool, you are now going to be playing with like the big dogs. You're going to be auditioning for like Paramount Pictures, Lionsgate, Universal, Netflix. Like, you're auditioning for the next level kind of stuff. And you want to make sure that your craft and your art is ready to be at that caliber. If you don't feel confident and ready to be in that pool, that's okay. That means that you just need to season yourself a little bit more. You got to marinate a little bit more in the non-union world, build your resume, build the skills, and then from there you can make the transition. I've seen these instances where really the client is able to become, aka the actor, is able to become union, but the agent's like, I don't think you should do it yet. Like, I think we should just stick to what we're doing a little bit longer, and then we can make the transition a bit later on. And there are some agents that are like, no, I think you're ready. Let's do it. Let's go forward. Let's put you in there, accept the credit, and like, let's start playing on another level. So this is definitely a conversation that if you have an agent, you should be having with an agent quite a lot. I think this should be something you talk about in the beginning if you're non-union, that you're interested in eventually becoming union. And then once you've been with them maybe for a year, you can see what they think and where, like, can you start auditioning for union projects so you can book a union gig and then become essentially invited into ACTRA. These are open conversations that you need to have with your agent to understand where you both stand and if this is a good decision to do it in the next, let's say, year or so. talking to your acting coach or mentor about it is also a good idea, because they are the ones who are helping you build your craft and your skills. So they see what you're good and what you need to work on, and where you can succeed in this. And they can help you to be like, listen, I think we're on a level where you're still working on a few things. Let's get those, really like hone in on them, get them like really fixed up. And then I think you'd be ready to go into union. Truly try avoid listening to all your friends and family, because it can get very confusing and it can get very like, I don't understand what's happening. Nobody knows what your acting career is on except for you, your agent, and your acting coach, if they're with you, all the time helping with your self-tapes. They really know what's happening. They know what your skills are. They see your work. I mean, your agent is literally 50-50 working with you, so they can really help you make that decision. Another part is why you should listen to yourself is at the end of the day, you have to ask, do you want to be a union actor? And I'm like really seriously asking this, like, do you really want to do this? There are people that I know that don't want to play in the union level. They have no interest. They like doing non-union indie films. They like doing that kind of style. They like doing the commercials. Like they're really into a different level. They want to stay in that non-union world. They want to constantly make their own projects. They want to do small budget things. Like they're really into that, because when you're non-union, you have more freedom to do whatever you want. When you're union, you're cut off. You cannot do any non-union projects. And if you ever want to do your own projects, your own film, they all have to be union based because you are union. So it becomes a bit more complicated to do your stuff. If you are, like I said, a director or whatever, and you do this also on the side besides acting, and all of your projects that you build yourself are all non-union, once you become union, you won't really be able to do the non-union anymore. You have to be playing them and applying them to ACTRA to get them classified as union projects. So that is something you have to ask. Where's your career at? I personally don't do any of my own projects. The only thing that I do myself is my social media and my channel, and that has nothing to do with the union. So I was like, okay, well, I'm doing a lot of the stuff that I was doing non-union was very like cattle call. Like they'd be like, we just need a woman. That's it. And you're like, okay, and you show up and it's like every single age, every single skin color, hair color, eye color, just the word woman. Like literally all of Toronto, every woman in Toronto just showed up to the audition and that was it. So it was really almost like a free-for-all, and it made it really difficult to sometimes stand out because you don't even know what they're looking for. And I was like, I'm not into this. I'm not into doing the non-union. I don't do my own projects. So for me to become union, I really wouldn't be missing out that much in the non-union world. And that's when I made the decision to take my apprentice credit, and then I became apprentice, and now I'm auditioning for only union projects, which is where I want to be at. Commercials are a little bit of an interesting beast. Why? Because commercials pre our like commercial strike here in Toronto, they were like honestly 50-50. You would get a bunch of union commercials and you'd also have a bunch of non-union commercials. So you weren't really like gonna lose out if you became union. You would then be just doing union commercials. And if you were non-union, you would just be doing the non-union commercials. And if an opportunity came up for a union commercial to audition, you would do that. But it's not like you were missing if you went to either side. Now, when the strike happened with union commercials, nobody was getting union commercials, like very rarely. I think in like the 2 years or however long the strike was, 2.5, maybe even 3 years, I don't remember. It just ended recently. I think I had 2 union commercials come in the whole time, which is like very rare compared to I was getting like at least 1 or 2 a week. So obviously the ratio seriously dropped, and my partner at the time, he was non-union and he was getting commercials like, oh my God, up the yin yang. It was like non-union commercial. He was doing 3 a week sometimes. Like it was insane. Now they've changed it. The strike is over. They came to some sort of resolution. Some union commercials are coming in, but majority are still non-union. So that's a question you got to ask yourself. If you want to be a commercial actor and you find that you book a lot more commercials and you want to continue doing commercial acting, then I would maybe suggest staying non-union and then continue doing that. And then maybe once the union world picks up in the commercial world, then you can see if you can make that transition. But again, I was auditioning more for films and movies than I was auditioning for commercials. So for me, it made more sense to go into the union world because my ratio of auditioning for commercials was very low. So you have to, like I said, you have to look at your big picture. You have to look at what kind of actor you want to be, what level do you want to be playing with, and are you ready to be playing at that level? Because the casting directors that are casting at union level, they're pretty top dogs. Like, they are looking at this, and if they don't like what they see and they see that you're just not ready for it, they will ask you not to come back into the room because they're just like, you're not ready for this. Let's not do this. I'm not saying that all of them are like that. There are some really great ones, but I have seen in my personal experience, if you screw up on a self-tape in a union world, they may not want to see you again. We're just going to leave it at that. There's another way that I see a lot of actors kind of make this decision, which is a very risky one in my personal professional opinion. If you went to a acting program that you receive a degree, like either it's a college program or it's a university acting theater program, you automatically get a ACTRA credit. I believe the rule is you have 60 days to receive it after you graduate, so it's not a lot. The issue is with that is that when you graduate, you're new. You're starting essentially from the bottom because you just went through 4 years. You don't have like a lot of credits or even any really. You're really starting from like level 1. I've seen students take their credit right after theater school. Like, we're talking within the first 30 days. But because they haven't built their demo and made themselves known in the non-union world, the casting directors in the union world kind of become like, well, who are you? And like, where'd you come from? And are you ready for this? So I would personally say build yourself first with the non-union work. And some non-union work is actually pretty good. Like, you can get yourself in some really great indie feature films that can go on to film festivals, that can quite maybe make it far. And they're usually pretty well shot. Like, they're not on a phone camera, like they're like legit cameras, people who are also trying to learn. So it's a great way for you to build your demo. And then from there on, you can kind of continue on building it. And then you have a professional demo done. You have a bunch of credits on your resume, and you're seasoned enough and understanding enough of how it works to be on set, how the audition works, like what the verbiage you're gonna be using, or what verbiage could be given to you from casting, agents, whatever. And then essentially, then you can make the move. Honestly, I think that's a very subjective question to ask. I think it really depends on yourself. I know people who hate the union, who don't want to be a part of it, who have a lot of issues with it. I know people who have gone union and couldn't get an audition for a whole year after that. But then I know people who were non-union and couldn't get an audition and then went union and just blew up and now are booking leads on Star Trek and whatever else is filming in the city. Like, it's very difficult to say whether it's a good idea or not. And I don't think you'll ever know until you make that decision. So if I were yourself, like I said, talk to your coach, talk to your agent, kind of sit down and look at your, let's say, last 2 years of acting and what you've been auditioning for, and see if you're ready. And if you are, make the move. Honestly, make the move. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose, really. And worst case, if you don't like it, you just leave the union and you go back to non-union and you kind of start from there. This whole industry is such a game. You're going to go really high up and then you're going to go back down and then you're going to go to the middle and then maybe back down and then go back up to very high again. Like, it's such a game. Like, it's such a massive game. I'm going on, let's say, 2 years now, no bookings, but I'm auditioning for really good stuff and I'm getting callbacks, but I haven't got the booking yet. Does that all of a sudden make me bad actor or not good enough or this and this and this? No, it just so happens that I'm in some sort of dry spell. There's other things that happened in the last 2 years that I felt that needed to happen to me in terms of jobs and opportunities that made me grow and understand that I think that if I booked something, I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities. So maybe those characters were not right for me and I wasn't right for them. Like, there could be a million freaking reasons of why I didn't book it. But have these conversations, sit down, really think about it, and go for the risk. Why not? And it's not the biggest deal if you feel that you shouldn't do it. Because the one thing about the union world is that it's always going to come up. You're always going to be, like, as a non-union person, the way it works is they have to allow full union actors audition first, then they open it to apprentice, and then they open it to non-union. So you will get chances to audition. And if you do get a chance, again, a year down the line to audition and you get the part, maybe then you'll be ready to transition into being union. You never know. Anyways, honeys, I am going to go now because it's a beautiful day here in Toronto. Actually, fun fact, it is my cousin's wedding this weekend. So Makita and I are MCs for the third time being MCs for a wedding. We're gonna start charging people soon. We're gonna start a business, actually, of being MCs. So we have to go finish writing her speech, finish a lot of stuff for the wedding. We're excited. I'm gonna be getting my hair done, my makeup. We're gonna look and fly as hell. If you're curious, check it out. Obviously, go on my Instagram. You know where I'm at. I love you, honeys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'm gonna see you all next week. Mwah! Bye, honeys.